The people of Israel needed a redeemer. Kenya need redemption as well. And this is so appropriate as we come to Christmas.
Yes, watu wangu wa nguvu, watu wangu wa power, asanteni sana kwa kutusupport. I want to be so grateful because bila nyinyi, mimi siko. Na mimi nataka kuwashukuru sana, nataka kusema asante because you've been supporting us, you've been real to me, you've been mumekuwa watu. So maybe najua mmeona hii video, you've seen the title of the video. I want to tell you things are not okay. Things are not okay. And even the fathers, the pastors, the leaders of the country have even decided now to say the reality. Unajua watu walikuwa wamenyamaza sana, watu walikuwa wamekasirika, watu walikuwa wanasema these people, this person ako sawa, yeye ndio tulikuwa tunataka, yeye ndio nini. Now, the leaders, viongozi, nani, yani wa makanisa, wameamua kuanza kuona ukweli. Ndio walikuwa wanaona ukweli, but saizi ndio wameamua sasa kuona ukweli wa ukweli. And they've decided, you know what? It's not going to be like this anymore. It's not, haiendi kufanyika hivi. Viongozi wameamua, viongozi wa makanisa wameamua kusema ukweli. Viongozi wa makanisa wameamua kuambiana ukweli. And now the big question is, what exactly is happening? That's the biggest question. But before we go to that, I know video nitaweka mwisho wa hii video yangu, nitaweka the video that I'm talking about. You'll be able to see what exactly is happening. Now, our government has failed. Serikali yetu imefail wa Kenya. Na lazima tuseme ukweli. You know, when you look at things, when you look at the lies, when you look at so many things that are happening, and you ask yourself, I mean, does really Ruto remember the kind of promises that he made? And from the promises, he is adding on mauongo kidogo juu yake. Hata si kidogo, ni mauongo za ukweli tu. When you look at something like juzi ameongea juu ya mkuru kwa Ruben, sijui ni mkuru kwa Ruben ama ni mkuru kwa Njenga. You know, you're telling people that, you know, saizi ukienda mkuru kwa Ruben, you'll see that place has changed. It's now looking like UK. I mean, ni kama sasa hakuna Wakenya wanaishi huko. Ni kama si Wakenya wanaishi huko, ni kama anaongelesha wazungu. That when you go to mkuru kwa Ruben, you know, the place has changed. My friends, Wakenya si wajinga. William Samoei Ruto, I want to tell you, Wakenya si wajinga. Kenyans are sharp people. Kenyans are real people with real reasoning capacities. Ukianza kuambia Mkenya that you know, this thing inakaa hivi, ni kama si Wakenya unaambia, ni kama unaambia tu wazungu ama some people, you are just lying to them. No, Mr. President, it's high time you make people believe in you. The same way you made half of the voters to believe in you. You made 6,000, ama ni 7,000 million Kenyans to believe in you and vote you in. It's high time that you make them believe in your leadership. Mr. President, uongo imekuwa mingi. Punguza kidogo. Mr. President, punguza tu kidogo. Tell Kenyans the reality. Waambie ni aje, mimi nafanya ABCD because of ABCD. Mimi na avoid kufanya ABCD because of ABCD. And then vitu zita run smooth. But ukiendelea kufanya hivi na hivi na hivi, I mean kidogo tutakuwa mbaya sana. But anyway, I don't want to talk about all these issues. Nataka muangalie hii video yenye naweka hapa hivi. Mniambie really, saizi ndio watu wameanza kuona ukweli ama is it the right time ya kuambia the president ukweli ama tuko late kidogo? Thank you so much for watching. Until the next video, I'm your boy, I'm your son, I'm your best guy in town, Daniel Msanya. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment. Until next time, peace.
The context of Kenya. Even while I am away, I engage with Kenyan situation because I am Kenyan. And you remember when I was the provost here, my considered conviction was you cannot look at life in a binary way, that there is holy and there is unholy. There is what is political and there is what is church. When politicians want to use the church to propagate their agenda, they say church and politics is one. When we become very tough on them, they say, no, you do the church things, leave politics to us. I am convinced, as a theologian, I am a politician as well. And politics is talking about the governance of a nation. And the church and church leaders must engage in such. So we hear the cry of our country. The cost of living, the depreciation of the Kenyan shilling against the dollar, which is affecting the prices of most of the commodities because we are net importers. When I hear of that cry, it is very sad. I hear of a ruling class that doesn't seem to care about the depressing situations of this country. We have a weak parliament that can be used by the executive to add taxes to Kenyans. When this government was campaigning, they said they are going to reduce taxes. In fact, they were criticizing the then government, which they were part of, because of the high taxation. But today, the load of taxation is becoming heavier and heavier. And this is happening at a time when we hear of cases of grand corruption. So on one hand, you tax people. On the other one, the same government gets into scandals of corruption. For example, the edible oil. What has the government to do with edible oil? Any government project is riddled in a lot of corruption, unfortunately. And then you are told it is not fit for human consumption. Fuel prices are not making sense in Kenya. If you compare with the world, the prices are going down. In Kenya, they are going higher, affecting the lives of the poor Kenyans. Most of the public resources are going into waste, unfortunately. And the controller of budget actually stated publicly, and this is information that you have, that 2.2 billion has been spent in the office of the president and State House between July and September. If you do that calculation, it means that we spend in that office 23 million per day and 1 million per hour. That cannot be sustainable. While I was away, I hear now you've moved from Kenya Power and Lightning to Kenya Power and Darkness. And I even hear now you want to spend billions of shillings to unbundle the power lines. This is corruption after corruption after corruption in a government that looked very Christian. And you remember I told them not to hide in Christianity. Christianity is being men and women of integrity. You cannot use Christ to come to power, and then when you get there, you become a corrupt leader. The context in Kenya is becoming even sadder with the weakening of the opposition. While we should be having a very strong opposition by this time to check on the government, it's becoming weaker and weaker, and we can't hear the voice of Parliament, but also the schemes that you see to silence people. The other day I was reading of somebody threatening Kenyans not to go to court. Kenyans have the right to go to court. And leaders should, political leaders, I wish they were hearing me, should never threaten Kenyans. They are there because we voted. And they are there as servants, not as bosses. No threats. What even saddens me now is when I hear the voice of the church being silenced. Unfortunately, the church seems to be in bed with the government. They can't challenge the government. They have become recipients of government appointments and recognitions. And that is dangerous. So corruption, if you're not careful, will permeate every part of the church. This cathedral has been known as a place of agitation. This pulpit has been used by many people in the past, archbishops and provosts, as a place of calling on the government. And that is the role that the church must engage. And this church is very central to that. The people of Israel needed a redeemer. Kenya needs redemption as well. And this is so appropriate as we come to Christmas.